We begin this hour once again with Wikileaks. The damage U.S. officials say is enormous and the headaches only just beginning. Let's go to CNN's diplomatic correspondent, Jill Doherty. She's over at the State Department working the story for us. Jill, what a lot of officials are worried about is that foreign governments are about to find out who some very sensitive U.S. sources are, and those sources who have cooperated with the United States could be in deep trouble. What are you hearing?
Yeah, Wolf, that is, they are bracing this week to get more reaction from international governments literally around the world, because a lot of those documents had to be digested by those governments. I personally spoke with some embassies that said precisely that they were looking through those, trying to figure out whether it matched what they had, and then also what are the implications. And you know, Wolf, one of the things is it's almost like a three-dimensional chess. You have the United States, and you also have other countries, and they're all in this together at that point. But you know, Wolf, the most important thing right now, the leaked cable that hits closest to home for Secretary Clinton is one that allegedly shows that her office directed U.S. diplomats to collect personal information on foreign diplomats at the United Nations, including things like credit card numbers, frequent flyer numbers, etc. Now, some critics claim that that is tantamount to spying. The State Department says that it was simply a post-9/11, as they put it, wish list that some from intelligence agencies that some diplomats actually ignored. That means diplomats, the State Department insists it wasn't spying. All that leads to the latest development in the Wikileaks saga.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange takes aim directly at Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, telling Time magazine it could be time for her to resign.
She should resign if it can be shown that she was responsible for ordering U.S. Diplomatic figures to engage in espionage activities at the United Nations in violation of the international covenants to which the U.S. has signed up.
The State Department vehemently denies its diplomats are spying on anyone.
Nothing in any document that is allegedly in the tranche of WikiLeaks, or in the possession of WikiLeaks, changed the role of any diplomat anywhere in the world.
Crowley calls Assange an anarchist. A former senior State Department official and Clinton supporter tells CNN calls for Clinton to resign are part of an organized campaign to wreak havoc on American diplomacy, on Secretary Clinton, and first and foremost on President Obama.
I, of course, have been reaching out to governments and leaders around the world over the last week.
It will be awkward. Arriving in Kazakhstan to meet with the country's president, the subject of one leaked cable describing his lavish lifestyle and saying his defense minister seems to enjoy, quote, drinking himself into a stupor. And there could be more challenges for Clinton, trying to smooth over some salty descriptions of world leaders, like Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi and his voluptuous blonde Ukrainian nurse. German Chancellor Angela Merkel described as risk-averse and rarely creative. Or questions from one cable, how is Argentine President Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner managing her nerves and anxiety?
But Clinton supporters say that actually she is the perfect person to deal with this perfect storm of WikiLeaks. In fact, Wolf, they say that she knows a lot of these leaders. She's known them for years. And if anyone can smooth ruffled feathers and assure them of their relationship, it's Hillary Clinton.
Jill Doherty at the State Department for us. Thanks, Jill. WikiLeaks says it's come under electronic attack aimed at making the website unavailable to users. The site also experienced a denial of service attack on Sunday, just as it was publishing the first of some 250,000 secret U.S. diplomatic cables. Such attacks involve flooding a website with requests for data. WikiLeaks recovered from Sunday's disruption and resumed publishing U.S. documents. The effects of today's disruption at this point are not clear. And joining us now from Capitol Hill, Congressman Peter King, Republican of New York. He's expected to become the next chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you, Wolf.
Can you assure the American people right now that what Private First Class Manning allegedly did could no longer happen right now?
No, Wolf, I can't. And that is really up to the administration to demonstrate what they've done, the steps they've taken, the procedures they've implemented to ensure us that this cannot happen again. We will be getting briefings, top secret briefings over the next several days, laying out what happened and what's been done to prevent it. But based on what I've seen so far, I am not convinced that everything has been done, nor am I convinced that the administration is sufficiently serious about going after WikiLeaks.
Because someone was asleep at the switch when a private first class allegedly downloads hundreds of thousands of documents into a thumb drive, if you will, from a computer at a military base outside of Baghdad. Who's supposed to be protecting those security? Who's supposed to be in charge of that?
Well, I would say at this point it would have to be someone in the Pentagon. It would have to be the Defense Department, which has ultimate responsibility for this. And it's not just private first-class Manning that had access. My understanding is there's hundreds of thousands of people in the U.S. government had access to this. And
but you believe you suspect he's the individual who downloaded these documents and provided them to WikiLeaks. Oh, yeah. Is there any evidence someone else did it?
Oh, no. I mean, all the evidence that I'm aware of points toward him. I'm just saying how much worse this even could have been, and that besides Manning, there are hundreds of thousands of others that could have done it, which to me makes the negligence that much worse. No, I'm virtually certain that Manning was the prime mover here, and he's the one who is responsible.
I guess what I'm trying to ask, Congressman, who's to blame for this security blunder?
Yeah, I would say right now, from what we know, it has to be the Pentagon. I mean, the Defense Department has ultimate responsibility, because my understanding is that these were all put in the Pentagon. That's where all the files were. That's where they were, and that's where they were taken down from. So obviously there should have been, as I see it, there should have been much more precautions taken. There should have been some flags there. There should have been some fail-safe procedure in place, which apparently was not.
And what I hear you saying is you're not sure it's even in place right now.
I'm not certain. Again, I will be getting a briefing tomorrow, and we'll learn more then, but I am not certain, again, how this administration is reacting, either stopping this from happening ever again in the future, or even as far as prosecutions are going after the people responsible.
You've suggested, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Private First Class Manning and Julian Assange, the head of WikiLeaks, have blood on their hands. Do you have any evidence, as of right now, that someone has actually died as a result of all these leaks?
No, but I have no doubt that someone can or will die because of these leaks. I mean, the information that's out there is just devastating. Without going into all the details, but it has exposed sources that we have, people that we have. It's compromised our military. It's also put people at risk in foreign countries, both our people and other people who are working with us. And when I say blood on the hands, it's because they have put our people in a situation where their lives are at risk because of the actions that both Manning and WikiLeaks have taken.
But based on the postmortem that you've been privy to, the briefings you've received so far as the ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee, there's not one example that you've been given of someone actually dying as a result of this.
Well, I will be getting the first real briefing tomorrow. But I'm saying even if there is no one who was actually killed or attacked or put in danger yet, the fact is, the information that's out there, it's an invitation to murder. It's an invitation to killing. It's an invitation to really expose and hurt good people who are working both as Americans and also people, sources and resources that we have in other countries who put their lives on the line for us, and they are now at risk.
You've suggested that WikiLeaks be designated a foreign terrorist organization like Al-Qaeda. Does that mean the U.S. should take out, assassinate, kill Julian Assange, the head of WikiLeaks?
Well, my own belief is that he's an enemy combatant, but I think I would right now be satisfied if the government prosecuted him under the Espionage Act and also declared WikiLeaks to be a foreign terrorist organization, which would give us the opportunity to seize their assets and also prosecute anyone who helps them in any way.
You have any evidence, any reason to believe the administration will do that?
Well, I have no evidence that the administration is doing anything. I mean, they've known for months and months and months what WikiLeaks is up to. And yesterday, Eric Holder certainly I didn't sense any note of anxiety, any intensity. He's saying, you know, they're looking into it, they're exploring, but no real evidence that they are doing anything serious as far as going after WikiLeaks. And so, again, they may be, but I'm not aware of it. And certainly from watching Eric Holder and the president, for that matter, I didn't see any sense of urgency at what a catastrophic event this is. Today, I met with a very prominent official, a cabinet official from one of our closest allies, And they are shocked by this, not by the personal remarks that are made. That, diplomats and politicians, we're used to that kind of stuff. The media says bad things about us all the time. But seriously, what they're talking about is compromising assets, compromising people who are working with us, disclosing strategies and policies, which to the naked eye or to the average person, even to the average follower of politics and government, may not realize how significant a particular fact is. This person I was talking to said he thought it was the worst diplomatic catastrophe that anyone has ever suffered. And this is a very close ally.
All right, Congressman, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining us. Good luck in your next responsibility as chairman of the Homeland Security Committee.
Well, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Let's get a closer look now at Private First Class Bradley Manning, the young Army intelligence analyst, suspected of leaking hundreds of thousands of sensitive documents. He had a small-town childhood in Oklahoma. His father served in the U.S. military. His parents separated when he was a teenager. The slightly built Manning was taunted first for being something of a computer nerd and later for being gay. A friend Manning met at a gay bar says the abuse continued when Manning joined the U.S. Army and had a significant impact.
In my opinion, I feel that sexuality, his own sexuality, and what had happened to him in the military, coupled with the policy of the military, played a significant role in the reason as to why he did what he did.
So far, Manning has only been officially accused of leaking a classified military video. We can't be sure of any motivations, but CNN.com's Ashley Fonts has spent months digging into Manning's background.
He was affiliated with a lot of left-wing political organizations, everything that sort of supported equal rights for gays, and he was certainly for repealing the don't ask, don't tell policy, according to his Facebook page.